Good morning. Welcome to Good Morning, Anambra. How are you? It's a new day, a new month. Um, how else do we even describe the year? Okay, an old year. That's getting started to leave the stage. I'm sure you had a good weekend. I did. That's why we're here. Thank you for joining us. My name is Stephen Ma. Start by now as to bring the first review. Again, Express Review, and I have joining me this morning Samuel Lolo, a public affairs analyst. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, IJ. And good morning, Anambra. Happy new month. The rest of the month be a productive one for us.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you again. Okay, let's begin from the beginning as we look at the stories making the rounds from our website this morning. The first story there says Anambra governor's wife intervenes in case of a woman who was gruesomely assaulted by her husband in Anambra community. Anambra state government to review memo on installation of solar street lights in Oka. The judges retreat Chiugo Ajuluchukwu to reappear in court tomorrow over alleged killing of stepmother. Horrible things are happening. Okay, Teachers House wins 2024 Irene Menakaya School Furniture Inter-House Sports Competition. NUJ Final Delegates Conference, Federal Government reassures of press freedom, protection of journalists. Okay. And then public battles will define you as a general. Jonathan Tasfubara. Motorcycle Operators Union Chairman Igwidibia felicitates APGA National Chairman on victory at Supreme Court. And finally from here, Bishop Ezokafa urges ministers of God to promote peace, love among Christians. These are the main stories making the round from our website this morning, www.absradiotv.com. You can go there and get details of this and many more. But for now, Sam Ololo, let us look at the kind of happenings. We'll combine these two stories. The first story, okay, not the first story. The guy that killed the stepmother, and then the other guy that, okay, the first story, that's man assaulted the wife at Amobala community. Yes.
Incidentally, I happen to be the state program officer for a TB network intervention in Anambra State, where we are working with community members using what we call community-led monitoring model, okay. Engaging communities, building capacities to engage and address issues in primary health care centers. And recently, it's been funded by Global Fund, actually, through NACA and then TB network. Okay. And recently, we added a component that is gender-based violence and gender and human rights component. And this exposed me and opened my eyes to the multiple issues that are happening not just in Anambra State, in Nigeria at large. And that begins to make me ask the serious question, which way are we headed? These are reported cases that possibly have now come to limelight. The next question is, those persons who are not being reported, those ones who are afraid, what is their fate like? And it's seriously a serious cause for concern. And the government, both at the local government, we don't have local government in place, and both at local government at the state level and at the federal level, must begin to re-strategize towards addressing issues like this, whether assault, whether rape. And yes, if you call the government, they will tell you a lot of programs that they are running. Typical example, average government official or those who are at the forefront of gender-related issues will tell you that they have the VAP law, that is Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law. Some also will tell you that they have formed in Anambra, so there's something we call SAC, Sexual Assault Referral Center at Ntasi. So there are lots of programs that the government has. Ntasi at Abaga, Enugu. That's where the SAC is.
Isn't that the name of a village?
No, so it's not. It's the initiative SAC is as the Ntasi is at the General Hospital at Enugu.
Okay.
That's where they provide that service. Now, my concern is this. Despite all these programs, despite all these initiatives, despite all these laws, we still continue to record cases of assault, we still continue to record cases of rape, and to sum it all up, currently we are commemorating 16 days activism. And the concept of 16 days activism is to bring to fore these kind of issues, to make the society action on perpetrators. But why initiatives are coming up, why funding is going in, why laws are coming in, unfortunately, the crime continues to increase. And the worst case from experience that we have seen is many persons are living perpetually in this. And when we fight for them, because of the fear of the unknown, because of uncertainties, they will continue to die in silence. And I think it's high time we really, as stakeholders, media, community leaders, government institutions, as well as religious institutions, come together and say these things are evil and begin to bring up measures to discipline those who continue to perpetrate this. If the society don't embrace this and say it is evil, unfortunately, we continue to have people who will be victims of this circumstances.
So is it that the society has not really come together to condemn it, or that stakeholders have not been able to work very hard to ensure it stops? Otherwise, why do you think that even as we engage a lot of efforts to this, yet the act is still on the increase?
So that shows you that whatever we are doing, we are not even started addressing the issue.
What must we do?
First of all, we must begin to completely condemn every form of both violence, both abuse. We must begin to condemn it. And if generally as a society, people who abuse their wives, people who are rapists, and other forms of violence against human person, if we say these things are evil and begin to look at those at their faces and possibly ostracize them, I tell you, they will know that the society is becoming more serious. That's exactly where
I'm going to, because it's not enough for us to say that we are not doing anything or we did. So everybody's condemning it, but what must we do? There are laws that we have established here that have been put in place to check this. Why are people not assessing the law?
So, and then that is where government people comes in. Also, I think one issue that has been a shortfall for us is, unfortunately, is the economic situation of the country. Just 2 days ago, a woman called me. She was complaining of how the husband has been beating her. After the complaint, I told her, okay, we're going to refer this case to human rights, but what is your ask? Because before we go into any intervention, we'll ask you, what do you want? The woman said, and as we speak, the husband took her back to the family. That's to her own father's house. We're holding the children, 3 kids, the first being 5 years, the least being a year plus. When I asked her, what is your...
took away from a mother?
A mother sent the mother away and still retained the children. But this case, by tomorrow, we'll be taking it to human rights, even though they are aware of it, but we'll make official complaints. The woman said, even though that she was sent back to her father's house, that she would want to still go back to the man because of her children. She doesn't want her children to suffer. This is her ask. So,
if it's because of did you ask her, if as because of your children, would you want us to bring your children to you for you to stay with, and then stay away from this violent man, or you want to go and continue being in violence because of your children?
So let's ask her, what do you do? She just got an employment. I thank God for Soludo, who recently employed her. So she's a teacher. So what do you earn? She earns close to 90-something thousand. Okay, then that means you are okay to take care of your children, right? So, but the thing is, in law, a child custody, before a judgment is given, is always given in the best interest of the child. So, well, we will leave that for the institutions actually set up to handle that.
All right, let's move on. Okay. I think a lot of issues are coming up with what's playing out in Port Harcourt, that's Rivers State. Political battles will define you as a general. Jonathan Tess Fubaradis, does that supposed to mean you're doing very well, continue fighting? Or is there no way they will come in as stakeholders of Rivers State to quell what's going on between Wike and Fubara?
Unfortunately, the former governor has refused to hearken to precedents. He has refused to understand that he is no more in power. He's still trying to relevantly make himself relevant, if I have to use that expression, both at the federal level.
Relevantly make himself relevant.
Both at the federal level and then at the state level. Well, this is still happening because he has followers. And it's also happening because he's a minister. And this is exactly what played out between him and Amechi. When Amechi Chibike handed over to him, Amechi was a minister and he was a governor. Both of them were always having issues. And eventually we know how it was settled. So it's also playing out again. It has always been a recurrent decimal for Rivers State. And it's unfortunate that this is happening. We will really guess why all these are happening. Until the people become the center space of governance and of politics and why people go to serve, these things will continue to happen. And until the people say enough is enough in one voice without being selfish about it or because of what they will get from people, unfortunately, these things will continue to happen. And for good luck, I suppose they must have tried their best to mediate. It's not possible that they've not said anything. And it's now left for those who they are talking to listen to the words and voices of wisdom. Who is in power is Fubara, that is the current chief executive of Rivers State. Wike should understand that, give him his respect, allow him to govern Rivers State and serve the people effectively.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's now look at what the papers are saying this morning. We're going to take all the papers together and then we see where we can make us something to talk about. We are starting with the Daily Times newspaper this morning. And the banner at the headline there says, why Nigeria is underdeveloped. Primate Ndokoba is saying this, and let's see if we can make sense of that. It says, Nigeria instrumental in reforming our continent. So why are they not developed? Is it because they're busy reforming the continent? Okay, SEC assures investors of fund safety amid fintech growth. And then Tinubu Ramaphosa to co-share 11th by National Commission. Obasanjo tax play to residents on unity and love. Rate of accidents on newly repaired Third Mainland Bridge worries federal government. Atiku, okay, tax reform bills. Atiku urges NAS to ensure transparency, objectivity in conducting public hearing. Okay, that's all. Let's look at Punch newspaper. Tax reform. Refs suspend debate indefinitely as northern governors mount pressure. Yes, I think those guys are using their number to intimidate everybody in the House. 72 lawmakers, Zulum Tambowa, reject bills. And APC slams critics as northern group protests. Here, Port Harcourt refinery low-key operation begins. Marketers oppose 1,030 naira per litre. And then Swiss cement maker sells $1 billion stake in Lafarge. Military retirees plan protest over unpaid entitlements. Even the military. Okay, mother, I wonder what their protest will look like. I hope we are safe. The protest of the retired militaries. I hope we are safe. Mother, 2 children killed as Arsenal set family ablaze in Lagos. Very unfortunate. How Obasanjo rejected single-term presidency. Olanipekun. Okay, next paper is the Daily Trust. The CBN to retire 1,000 offers 50 billion naira payoff. With some riders there, they are offering me 97 million naira for 4 years service. That's something. And then 17 sacked directors yet to be replaced. Why they're sacking other people, you're waiting for replacements. Okay, 2027 article Obis Pali in Yola recognized merger permutations. Any other story of interest? Okay, down here, federal government begins malaria vaccination for children today. Okay, the Guardian newspaper, Labour begins nationwide strike. Size empty promises by governors. That story is on page 6. Where is that? Did they notify of the strike? And where is it happening? Articles loom lead northern opposition against tax bills ahead of NAS debate. I never knew God saved me from Abacha, Obasanjo says. 2027, splinter APC group moves to register with INEC. Government moves as poly lecturers begin strike today. Judiciary graft, abuse of power, diminish public confidence, AGF says. You're just realizing? Okay. No time is late. Name contractors that disappeared with MDA's 167 billion naira. Serap tells Tinubu. And finally from this paper, groups demand regionalism, parliamentary system, new name for Nigeria. Una wahala no dey finish for this country. Okay. The Nation newspaper is our next paper. Nation newspaper. Minimum wage strike call, spark stays and labor rose with some riders there. Workers down tools in Kaduna, Eboyin, Nasarawa, FCT. No strike in Oyo, Ekiti, Abia, Imo, others, including Anambra anyway. Okay, French investors to revive 2,000 abandoning mining pits in Nigeria. I think that's all we'll take it from that paper. Let's get to the next paper, which is the Blueprint. The Blueprint newspaper, bandits on revenge mission suffer casualties in Zamfara. Where are you now? Okay, in Zamfara, with a rider there, troops destroy hideouts, recover ammunition in Taraba. Set up questions AGF, Idum, over 167 billion naira contracts from 31 ministries. Would they answer us? Okay, let's keep our fingers crossed. The Tinubu tax reform bills will eliminate double taxation. This is coming from Ohaneze. Article calls for transparency and objectivity. Okay, there's so many interests coming up with this tax rating. Okay, do we still have another paper coming up? Oh, okay, Vanguard newspaper, Port Harcourt refinery, tanker drivers at war over delay in product loading. Well, actually any production. Okay, how Nigeria struggles to raise crude oil production investigation. And then Nigeria were living fake lives before now. Tinubu is saying this. You are torturing us to death and say we are living fake lives. So we're supposed to have died before now. Is that what you're saying? Okay, hardship. Nigerians in urban areas now use firewood, charcoal for cooking. I'm looking for one. Please, if anybody sees one, you should just let me know because disgusting. Okay, tax reform bills amid rising opposition. States, stakeholders prepare positions. Oh, okay. International friendly. France coach applauds Nadozie. Any other story of interest? Minimum wage. Labor to sanction councils defying directives. I never knew Gowan asked Abacha not to kill me. Obasanjo says this. Okay, gentlemen, let's look at the stories we can mesh together and talk about them before our time runs off.
Okay, I think I would be approaching it from this direction, asking the big question, why is Nigeria underdeveloped? The riders, a lot of other things you've read would really show you why Nigeria is underdeveloped.
Yeah.
I mean, that answers it. That big question by Daily Times, citing and asking a huge question, a theoretical one at that. Why is Nigeria underdeveloped? Despite the human capital resources, despite the natural resources, even despite the funds, because we would not agree that we don't have the available resources. That's now physical resources. Beyond that, despite the brain, does it not worry you that Nigerians who are struggling in Nigeria, immediately they leave the shores of Nigeria, they begin to excel, and they do extremely well. They become A's in their field of endeavor in other areas. So that shows that there are things naturally or fundamentally wrong with the country.
Or rather, there's nothing wrong with Nigerians. The problem is with Nigeria and their leaders.
So it's, of course, Nigeria is just an entity. It's not moving. It is the people who are in it that make it a function of what it is.
You don't want to talk about the leader. Why are you running around?
So both the leaders. So let's not. I don't want to make it appear that it is completely leaders' things.
Yes.
So for me, before now, I've always.
But you have exonerated the citizens.
Before now, I've always put a huge blame, and I will continue to do that on the leaders, because it is the responsibility of a leader to say, this is the direction I'm going, and pull everybody to that direction in a genuine manner, regardless of recalcitrant citizens or people who don't believe in it. But when we have leaders who don't even understand where they are going to, then there is a problem. But lately, after 2023 election, where beyond what the leaders are giving to us, you now see people who, somebody makes a comment, you don't even try to listen to or to analyze the comment made by the person. All what you say is you generalize it into ethnicism or a religious background. You're a citizen and begin to say these people are this. So it also calls for serious concern.
But there's a rider on that thing where he says, why is Nigeria underdeveloped? After all, Nigeria is instrumental in transforming our continent. That's what I understand from that. So if you can transform a whole continent of Africa, why can't you transform your own nation?
So the way I'm seeing it is, it's saying that Africa is not really growing because Nigeria is stagnant.
No, really.
That's the rider there. So, of course, one, we have the population. And even so much so, foreign organizations have also alluded to the fact that once you penetrate the Nigerian market, I bet your profit will begin to do magic. Because of the number, because of the patronage level. But if there is another research, I would want to imagine what that research or survey would be saying. Because currently Nigerians, the people that make up that entity called Nigeria, their purchasing power is low currently. So the question now is, even when you penetrate that market, who are the people that will purchase your products, your goods, and your services from you? This is another cause for concern. Okay. But we are saying this amidst what we need basically beyond, which is important, good governance and direct focused leadership. We are talking about energy, source of power supply that drives productivity. But as we speak, you now hear issues around, what is it called? Port Harcourt refinery, where there have been allegations that the oil there, the petrol there is being cracked. In a nation as important as this, as strategic as Nigeria, we continue to get these whole issues. So the question is, even these people that are doing this, what is the government doing to forestall it? And for me, that goes a long way to show the importance of leadership. Look at America. Trump is still the 47th president, but he's still the president-elect. A lot of things are beginning to shift. The kind of appointment he's making, even you see some persons saying they are leaving America because they are not comfortable in America again. It's to make you understand the importance of leadership. So we cannot now have a leader, government in power, in place, and we'll be struggling economically, and they're giving us story that we have been enjoying all the while. So instead of you to make us feel more comfortable,
died before now.
You are now making things more difficult for us, and we are complaining. You come up with plans that is not attuned with us.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's look at tax reform. The tax reform bill that is before the National Assemblies. And then Punch newspaper is telling us that the rest have suspended debate indefinitely. Maybe because of the pressure that is coming from the north. Yesterday I read where some northern guys from Borno State were even giving award to
Ndume.
Well, not in Dume. Durum, what's the name? Governor of
okay, Zulum.
Zulum, yes. Okay, and then you know, thanking him for supporting the idea of not going ahead with that tax reform. And then Ohaneze here is saying that the reform is okay, that is going to organize the way we pay tax in this country. Okay. So what do you take from that? Okay,
so the first question is, what is the current format of tax, and then what is the proposed? The current is of course, it has a sharing derivative where the federal government gets to keep 20%, the state takes 50%, then 35% goes to local government. Now, currently, the proposed one is the federal will keep 15, then the state will go with 55, local government still has 35. In these both derivatives, that these tax formulas, there are still other sharing formulas that is benefiting, one, people who have the population, then people who have, what is it called now? The people who produce derivatives. Now, that's people who pay tax. But with the new one, of course, when it comes to the old one, that is the current one that we are practicing, where those who have the population are being favored. The North are being favored heavily because they have the population, both in number as census has made us understand, and then by land mass. So in that they are benefiting, but the new one is now beginning to desensitize, incentivize the population aspect, and giving more to people who are bringing revenue to the federal allocation. And in that area, it is not going to serve the interest of the North fully. In as much as it's going to make everybody to become more productive, because if you want to earn more, it means that you have to work more. And then that is why the North is fighting against it. The current status will benefit them more, far more than whatever that is being proposed. And this makes me understand one thing, the importance of number, population, which over time they have to their favor. I mean, look at the number of states in the northern region, look at the number of states in the southern region. Then when you begin to go by southeast, southwest, look at the number of states that are in southeast, which is the least. Then if you begin to look at the number of House of Reps, Senate that these regions will produce, you will see the number. And they will tell you that, what is it called? That minority would have their say, but majority will have the way. So by the time whether Ohaneze Ndigbo will say whatever he wants to say, they will say, which is whether good or bad, when those who have the numbers say no, I now want to see the miracle.
Look at the numbers, 72 National Assembly members. Okay, let's quickly look at the minimum wage strike before we round off. A minimum wage strike cause sparks states, labor now and labor room. And then we are wondering, of course, they mentioned some of the states that the strike is taking place. Workers down tools in Kaduna, Ebonyi, Nasarawa, FCT, and no strike in Oyo, Ekiti, Abia, and Imo State. Okay, Imo State and others. Okay, let's see. Why this discrepancy? They have governors forum. They were part of the discussion of the minimum wage. Why are some paying and some are not paying?
Well, even as I was made to understand, Anambra State, just like some other southeastern states, we're not even paying the previous minimum wage in full. So the next question is, why was it so? And why were civil servants not bold enough to look at the government, both the current one and then the previous one, to say enough is enough, implement agreements with us? These are rhetorical questions. And for me, I think even these governors that are owing, surprisingly, let me shock you, if they go for second term and third term, if there's anything like that, they'll still win.
Why?
So it means there are things.
Votes don't count.
So it means there are things fundamentally wrong with the country. And we're asking, why is Nigeria underdeveloped? We have now talked about taxation system, where there are now those who are for and those who are against what should benefit the generality of the citizens. Now we're looking at minimum wage. For crying out loud, this is happening at a time where there is lean resources, where we, of course, understand that civil service drives economy too. Because sometimes when they are not being paid, go to the market and see if things are happening. Nothing would happen, because people who are building will not build. People who go to market to buy things will not buy. And again, look at their number. So when the government pays, those economic activities begin to move. So if the government should play with anything, they should not play with those kind of categories of persons. But it is not the case. However, these people keep making allocations. There are some of these states now that are trying to build airports. Yeah, airport is good for economic viability. But those people who are driving that economy, what is their living wage like? What is their welfare like? This is an important issue that we should be asking. And let me say this, please, quickly. There is something we have failed to embrace in Nigeria: the importance of data and evidencing. I mean, before government continues to run with their program or even initiate programs, it is important they have independent poll so that they can get the real-time feelings of the people that can inform the direction they would go in that policy and that program, or they need to review. But here, they tell you that we are doing minimum wage, 77,000, and the governor comes up and tells that it's 70,000 or that it's 75,000, and you begin to clap for him. Whatever the people are saying, they don't want to listen, they don't want to pay attention. Things don't work that way. So if the federal government says 77,000 and you say yours is 70,000 for whatever reason, I think there should also be a need for you to have an independent poll to really get from these people to inform what you will do, and even maybe communicate effectively. But here, nobody talks. If they talk, they are your political enemies that are talking. And you want us to grow, and Nigerians are suffering. And possibly this is also part of the reasons why, not trying to make excuses for them, why the rate of violence at homes, at workplace is increasing, because everybody is annoyed, everybody is angry, nobody is working as a fulfilled entity. They're just striving to survive. And we see it play out in these forms.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Samuel Ololo, thank you for joining us this morning. And to look at the pages of the newspapers and the stories that made around this morning in our website. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, and this is where we're drawing the curtain as we get set to move over to the other side of the pond to look at, of course, yesterday was World AIDS Day. So today we're going to look at it, the 2024 World AIDS Day, and all the takeaways that we need to take, to have concerning this year's celebration. My name is Choma. See you then.